Hey, everybody, welcome back to the series of 30 tips in 30 days in 3 minutes or less. In this video, I want to give you a really simple but powerful mechanism for helping you find your early team, your band of brothers or your band of sisters, right? One of the most important things you will do as an artist and entrepreneur, besides music, is assembling your team. This is a tool for getting this right. So if you get this right, you build momentum, you get points on the board, you get speed, agility, right? If you get this wrong, it'll cost you pain, frustration, money, and years. So I want to get this into your hands early so that you can build momentum rather than frustration. This tool will help you get clear on two very specific roles as you build your early team. There are times you will need both. I want to give you a guide rail to never confuse the two. If you invert this and confuse this, you will not be happy. Okay. And it is the tool called leaders and feeders. Leaders and feeders. What is that? So, at a high level, leaders are in the boat with you. They're doing the work, they're thinking long term about your success. Feeders are outside the boat. Maybe they're cheering you on from the sidelines, but they're not really invested in what you're doing. Maybe they come in for a quick play here and there, but they're not in the boat with you. How do you spot them in the wild? You can spot them in the wild by thinking of the band of brothers metaphor. They're in the trenches with you, taking bullets for you, helping you take the next hill, right? They're risking, they're doing stuff with you, right? They're carrying buckets to help you win. Leaders, they're not getting their hands dirty. They're kind of watching over on the sidelines. Maybe they'll give you a pat on the back. Feeders don't get invested in the day-to-day of what you're doing. Let's look at some attributes of both leaders and feeders. Leaders have skin in the game. Their hands are dirty. They're carrying buckets on your behalf. Feeders don't really get their hands dirty. They're probably too smart for that. They're maybe consultants or lawyers. And look, there's time for consultants and lawyers. They don't really get their hands dirty, right? Leaders get their hands dirty. Feeders don't get their hands dirty. Risk. Let's look at it along the idea of risk. Leaders will risk alongside of you. They'll co-invest alongside of you. Feeders are risk averse. They just don't do that, right? They're the consultants. They're the lawyers. They're the service providers. Pay them to do the work and they're gone. They're work for hire people. Leaders think long-term. They're thinking about the year. They're thinking about 2, 3, 5, 10 years. Whereas feeders are thinking short-term, 2 weeks, 2 days, maybe 2 hours. And again, there's times where you need those short-term projects. You're not asking them to get married, but you need them to do the project for you. And that's great. Leaders will execute with you. Again, their hands are dirty. They're carrying buckets, moving the ball forward. Whereas feeders will just tell you what to do and you go do it. They're thinking strategically. They're in their head. They're not carrying buckets. And maybe the most important attribute for leaders and feeders is the idea of health. They care about the health of the artist. If the artist is the golden goose, they want the golden goose to have a 3, 5, 10, 15, 20-year career rather than just a 2-year window. They don't want to just see a spike. They want to see a long-term growth, right? So they care about you as an artist, right? They don't want to burn you out. They don't want to see you do stupid stuff that ends your career. They want to see you win. Okay. I've heard this called missionaries and mercenaries, and I think that's a fair way to split the baby. Missionaries care about the mission and vision, help you do the work, help you build the mission, right? Whereas mercenaries are work for hire, pay me, F you type people, kind of like bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back. There's a time and a place for Boba Fett and Bossk and IG-88 that you need to just hire them to go get Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett, go get him, right? But they're not long-term with you. They're not in the boat. They're not in your internal circle. Okay. So as you build your early team, begin to use this mechanism to split people up into, is this person a leader or is it a feeder? If you get this right, you get momentum, you get points on the board. If you get this wrong, it will cost you pain, years, money, and frustration. So I hope you get this right. I hope you start using it today. And I look forward to seeing the momentum and the points you put on the board by using it. We'll see you next time.